Hello and welcome to the Mixtape. Video games, what started as simple pixels on a screen have grown into a billion-dollar industry. From the birth of interactive entertainment to the cutting-edge experiences of today, video games have evolved across decades and platforms. Join us as we dive into the history of video games, exploring how they've shaped our culture and captivated our imaginations as the decades have gone by. It all began in the 1950s when scientists and engineers experimented with computers. One of the first games ever created was Tennis for Two, developed by William Higginbotham in 1958. Using an oscilloscope, players bounced a virtual ball back and forth, a simple idea that planted the seed for what was to come. In the early 1960s, another groundbreaking game was Space War, created by MIT students on a PDP-1 computer. It featured two spaceships battling each other in the gravity of a nearby star. These early games weren't just technical achievements, they were cultural milestones, introducing the idea that computers could be used for fun. The 1970s marked the birth of the commercial video game industry with the arcade revolution. Atari, founded by Nolan Bushnell, led the charge with the release of Pong in 1972. This simple table tennis game quickly became a hit in bars and arcades, establishing gaming as a profitable business. Arcades began to pop up everywhere, packed with machines featuring titles like Asteroids and Space Invaders. On the home front, the first video game console, the Magnavox Odyssey, was launched in 1972. Though limited in capability, it set the stage for home entertainment. Atari later released the 2600 console in 1977, complete with removable cartridges that allowed players to switch games, a revolutionary feature. PC gaming also made its debut in the 70s, with text-based adventures like Colossal Cave Adventure, which required players to type commands to explore virtual worlds. By the early 1980s, video games were at the height of their popularity. Arcade games had taken over pop culture, with iconic games like Pac-Man and Space Invaders creating massive waves across the world. At the same time, home consoles like the Atari 2600 were growing in popularity, with many families purchasing consoles to play games at home. However, the rapid success of the industry also led to overexpansion and complacency. Many companies began to flood the market with a flood of video game consoles and software, often producing low-quality or hastily made titles. This oversaturation of the market would prove to be one of the key contributors to a major event that changed the video game industry forever, the video game crash of 1983. Many companies such as Atari, Mattel, ColecoVision vied for a share in the market, and the sheer number of home consoles and games led to confusion among consumers, and many found themselves overwhelmed by the options available. In an effort to capitalize on the boom, many game developers released subpar games. A particularly famous example of this is E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which was rushed to market in time for Christmas. The game was widely criticized for poor graphics, confusing gameplay, and technical issues, and became symbolic of the industry's decline. As a result, arcade revenues began to fall. A glut of arcade games, coupled with the increasing availability of home consoles, meant that people no longer needed to go to arcades to play games. This caused many arcade owners to close their doors. But then an unlikely savior emerged, Nintendo. In 1985, Nintendo launched the Nintendo Entertainment System, or the NES in North America, reviving the home console market. Nintendo took several measures to avoid the mistakes of the past, including quality control, limiting the number of games that could be released for the system, and aggressively marketing the NES as a toy rather than a video game console to distance it from the failures of previous systems. With Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, and Metroid, Nintendo introduced iconic franchises that would go on to define the gaming landscape for years. These games featured better design, gameplay, and graphics compared to what had come before, regaining consumer trust and reigniting interest in video games. Meanwhile, Sega was also making waves. In 1988, they released the Sega Genesis, ushering in the 16-bit era, and introducing us to Sonic the Hedgehog, Sega's answer to Nintendo's Mario. The battle between Sega and Nintendo became one of the most defining rivalries in gaming history, marking the beginning of the console wars that would dominate the industry through the 1990s. The 1990s were defined by fierce competition between consoles, 3D graphics, and the rise of PC gaming. Sega and Nintendo went head-to-head with the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or SNES. Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog offered speed and attitude, while Nintendo delivered beloved classics like Super Mario World and The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. But it was the PlayStation, launched in 1994 by Sony, that marked the next big leap. Its CD-based technology allowed for larger, more complex games. Titles like Final Fantasy VII and Metal Gear Solid pushed the PlayStation to the top, and it quickly became a powerhouse in gaming. On the PC side, things were heating up as well. The release of Doom by ID Software revolutionized first-person shooters and became a huge influence on the genre. Warcraft and StarCraft helped popularize real-time strategy, RTS, games, and Diablo set the stage for action RPGs. Multiplayer gaming was also starting to grow with the first LAN parties, where gamers connected their PCs to play together in the same room. And speaking of competition, this was also the start of competitive gaming with tournaments for games like Street Fighter II and Quake, paving the way for the future of esports. As we entered the late 90s and early 2000s, 3D graphics revolutionized the gaming experience. Nintendo's N64, released in 1996, featured iconic titles like Super Mario 64, the first true 3D platformer, and GoldenEye 007, which introduced competitive split-screen multiplayer. The N64's powerful hardware was a game-changer, but it wasn't long before Sony's PlayStation 2, released in 2000, took over the gaming landscape. Meanwhile, Microsoft entered the scene with the original Xbox in 2001, bringing with it the iconic Halo: Combat Evolved. Halo became a hallmark of console FPS games and was a major success for Microsoft, helping establish Xbox as a major player. The Xbox also introduced Xbox Live, a groundbreaking online service that allowed gamers to connect and compete with each other, pushing the concept of online multiplayer forward. In the world of PC gaming, things were exploding as well. With the release of Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2, the real-time strategy genre evolved, while World of Warcraft ushered in the era of massively multiplayer online role-playing games, MMORPGs. These games weren't just played for fun, they were community hubs. And this was also when the world of esports began to formalize. StarCraft tournaments in Korea were early examples of competitive gaming reaching a massive scale, while events like the World Cyber Games and the Electronic Sports World Cup brought professional-level gaming into the spotlight. The 2000s saw a boom in competitive multiplayer experiences, both on PC and consoles. The PC continued to dominate in the esports world, with games like Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, Counter-Strike, and Quake 3 Arena becoming pillars of competitive gaming. World of Warcraft also captured millions of players with its immersive online world. By the late 2000s, it was clear that gaming was no longer just about casual play, it had evolved into an internationally competitive sport. Meanwhile, on consoles, online multiplayer exploded. Xbox Live was an early leader, but Sony's PlayStation Network followed suit, creating an ecosystem where gamers could play together across the globe. Games like Call of Duty, Halo 3, and Gears of War turned competitive gaming into a worldwide phenomenon. One of the most significant events in this era, though, was the rise of esports as a global phenomenon. Games like Counter-Strike, League of Legends and Dota 2 helped define the modern esports landscape, with massive prize pools and millions of viewers tuning into major events. Platforms like Twitch emerged as the go-to destination for live streaming gameplay, and professional gamers became stars in their own right. Esports was no longer a niche hobby, it was a full-fledged industry, with sponsorships, stadium-sized events, and even university scholarships for players. Games like Fortnite, Apex Legends and PUBG pushed Battle Royale-style games to the forefront, attracting even larger audiences. As we entered the 2010s, gaming was bigger than ever. Mobile gaming exploded, thanks to smartphones and games like Angry Birds, Candy Crush, and Clash of Clans. These games brought gaming to the masses, and now everyone could be a gamer. The 2010s also saw the rise of indie games. Minecraft, Stardew Valley, and Undertale showed that small studios could create massive hits. This shift democratized game development, giving rise to a new wave of creative and unique experiences. As we entered the modern era, the release of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X in 2020 marked the start of a new era, with lightning-fast load times, stunning graphics, and immersive experiences. These consoles continue to push the boundaries of what's possible in gaming. Titles like Spider-Man, Miles Morales and Demon's Souls showcased next-gen capabilities, while Cyberpunk 2077 brought players into a hyper-realistic futuristic world, despite its rocky launch. On the PC side, hardware continues to evolve rapidly, with dedicated gaming rigs capable of running games at 4K resolution and beyond. Graphics cards like the NVIDIA RTX 3080 and AMD's Radeon RX series are now essential for delivering the visual fidelity gamers crave. And the power of PCs has led to even more innovation in virtual reality. Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and PlayStation VR have brought VR into the mainstream, giving players the chance to step into entirely new worlds and experience games in ways never before possible. Mobile gaming, too, continues to dominate, with titles like Genshin Impact pushing the limits of what's achievable on smartphones. And of course, cloud gaming, with services like Google Stadia and Xbox Cloud Gaming, which allow players to stream games to any device without needing top-tier hardware. This shift to cloud-based gaming could be the key to the future of gaming. And of course, esports remains one of the fastest-growing sectors in entertainment. Major tournaments for games like League of Legends, Dota 2, Fortnite, and Valorant continue to break records, with huge audiences watching in stadiums or online. Esports players are no longer just casual fans, they're celebrities, making millions from sponsorships, streaming, and tournament prizes. As we look toward the future, it's clear that gaming will continue to evolve. Virtual reality, cloud gaming, and innovations we haven't even imagined yet are right around the corner. And one thing's for sure, gaming will keep pushing boundaries, creating new experiences, and connecting us all in ways we can't wait to explore. So, whether you're a fan of classic platformers, massive open worlds, or the thrill of esports, the future of gaming is bright. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through time. Do let us know about your gaming experience, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more such informative content, smash the bell icon and drop a comment below telling us about your favorite gaming memories. Until next time, stay tuned for more mixtape content.